One of the problems with our education system is that we have curbed the entire curiosity of the children. We don't get them to ask questions. In fact, whenever they ask questions, they no, you just accept it. Unfortunately, the entire education system of our country was waylaid, was destroyed. Examination paper of information communication and technology. You know the kind of questions? How do you save a file in Microsoft Word? How do you copy a folder from here to there? When was the first computer invented? 10th class student, this is what you're going to test in the examination system. God created world. How do you know? So they have that ability. You're bringing him into the school to make him even more dumb. Without studies, there is nothing. But it's not right. Business skill is a skill. Dhirubhai Ambani was a dropout. Look at the empire he is developed. Critical part of it was questioning who you are, why are you born, what are you going to do in this world. That entire bit is totally absent in our present education system.
Hello everyone, welcome to Bay Leaves. So today we do have a special guest, Mr. Ashish. Ashish is from Indic International School. He is the founder and chairman of Indic International School. So he is going to share about the vision for the education sector for India, whatever the cultural change he is going to bring in and around India. So welcome sir, how are you?
My pleasure, very good, thank you.
So आपके बारे में बहुत कुछ सुना है, like you are bringing lots of changes in the education sector. So I just discussed with you about yoga, meditation, and also I came to know you are from Vipassana.
Yes.
You did your Vipassana and you want to promote like cultural change in our industry, in our society, with your experience you want to share with the medium is school. So I want to know more about the education sector, the changes you want to bring and the vision you want to share with the world. So please, first of all, I would request you to introduce yourself. So let's begin.
Hi, pleasure being here. For introduction, like you said, yes, right now I've just started Indic International School here in Hyderabad. Prior to that, I've been into various other activities. I run two other industrial units. One is into rubber recycling, other is in manufacturing fly ash bricks. And besides that, I was also a part of a parents association called Hyderabad Schools Parents Association. And the viewers might find it interesting that I was a part of this association and fighting against all schools, telling that you're increasing the fees illogically and irrationally, and you shouldn't be charging so much. So when I decided to start a school, a lot of schools, parents, everybody was surprised that, okay, how come you are starting a school now? And I know that I have a microscope over me with a lot of people watching over that. Let's see what he does now, how much fees he will charge, and what will he do in the school.
Okay. So what motivated you to bring and start a school? Like we discussed, like Vipassana is also, which has played a major role for you to come up with this particular school. So can you just also, from the spiritual side, can you just also guide us like Vipassana?
See, a lot of things. Initially, of course, you are the acha bacha of the school, acha bacha, good boy of your parents. You want to do things the way you're told. You do this and not this. So you fall into the line, you keep doing these things. But as a part of your journey of personal growth, you start finding some dissonance somewhere, that perhaps this is not right. Perhaps this is what I've been told, but the reality might be something different. So it is a series of such realizations which have finally culminated into me starting the school. So to give you an instance, now several things. Now you would say that, okay, now this is not right. But then the question is, what is right? So over a period of time, started realizing a lot of things which are not right with our education system. The primary one being that, the wealth of our land, the greatest gift, if you could call it, which our culture, our civilization has to give to the world, is knowledge about self and mastery of self. What you are, who you are. Education used to begin with that. When you had your Upanayan ceremony, or when education or the Aksharabhyasa, whenever you started your education, a critical part of it was questioning who you are, why are you born, what are you going to do in this world. That entire bit is totally absent in our present education system. So, yes, you had a lot of things which you saw were problematic in your education system, but then the journey was, then what is the right way to do it? Not that we've discovered everything which is right, and not that we have all the answers, but at least we have a lot of questions which we need to answer. The problem is that the present education system is not even asking those questions. So we thought, okay, let's start a school and keep discovering our path, how we go ahead from there. That's how we started this school.
Okay. As you told the word "acha bacha,"
Yeah.
so I can see lots of memories coming out of it.
Yeah.
So I just want to quote some of the poetry which you have written.
Yeah.
So let me again, if in front of the audience, let me reshare it with this "acha bacha." So that is one poem which you have written. क्लास में कुछ समझ आए या नहीं आए,
सर
सर
तो
तो जोर जोर से हिलाना ही पड़ेगा.
Yeah, my God, you dug up that poem. It was posted on my Facebook wall. I think I wrote it for my son.
Okay.
He had a Hasya Kavita competition in his school. Now my son is in his final year graduation. I don't know which class this was in, maybe 6 7 years back. So he was searching the net, and I said, "All nonsense poetry is there. Don't take that." He said, "Then what do you do?" I said, "Let me give it a shot at writing something." So which is where
Okay.
I wrote it. Trying to recollect, I think the first lines were, "जिंदगी कितनी ही गमगीन क्यों ना हो,
Okay.
फेसबुक पे तो हसीन होनी चाहिए." So, and then I don't recollect the other lines. Yeah, one of them was, "कुछ समझ में आए ना आए," because it was a school.
हाँ.
तो सर तो जोर जोर से हिलाना चाहिए, because that's what we are told. When the teacher looks at you, whether you understand or not, समझ में आया, हाँ teacher, yes teacher, everything, and
ये
then
मेरे
you
साथ
get
होता
the
था.
and then you get the results in the exam.
Correct.
So that is what I think I was trying to capture through that
Great.
poem.
So let's begin with this particular poem itself,
Yeah.
and I do have lots of questions
Yeah,
today.
sure.
So so I want all the answers. I think most of the parents have also gone through these stages. So your experience will help them, like because they have come from that particular phase, right? So let's help them out, like how we are bringing the change. Like you have done lots of research. Now you are the person who is implementing.
Yeah.
So let's begin with our question. Tell us about your passion of education, how it led to the establishment of Indic School.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a series of incidences. Now, let me recall a couple of them. You might be surprised, but one of the seeds was laid off from all the places in Bangkok. So we went on a family trip there, and when we landed up in the airport, the Swarna Bhumi International Airport, I said, "Swarna Bhumi in Thailand, what is this?" I said, "Okay." And then you land at the airport, you see the scene of Samudra Manthan being laid out there. I said, "Hare, our culture, our civilization here in Thailand," and I knew nothing about it. Then they said there is a big show which is put up here in Bangkok, which you should see. I forget the name of the show, but it had a lot of elephants and devatas going there. So there they were talking about Eravan elephant and a lot of deities and gods, which sounded very similar to our gods like Indra and all. I said, "Well, why would Thailand put up that show here, and why would it be an international attraction?" And then, of course, Google Baba is there to help us all. When I Googled, I found that Eravan is actually Eravat, and the gods who I found, who thought were similar to the gods that we worshipped here once, are not similar but the same. They're talking about Indra, Agni, Varun, and all the devatas who were worshipped in our land. And suddenly I was like, "Oh, what's happening here?" It's like, entirely our culture. It is not presented anywhere in India. I can't imagine a Samudra Manthan being put up in India anywhere on the airport. Immediately, you will have a big intellectual and secular brigade rising up in arms that you're trying to bring religion and whatnot. Not getting into those controversies, but the basic fact of our culture, our knowledge of which we are not aware, being shared in an international country, in a different country, as their culture.
Yeah.
Then I realized that Ramayana is also taught there, Ramayana is also played out there, and many people, they even have named a lot of cities behind Ramayana and Ayodhya. I am told that Ayodhya is also there. Now, the surprising part is, how is it that we don't know anything about it? Why is it that our education system never brought us in touch with this? Then the seeds of inquiry and curiosity went on, and I started reading. So I used to read a lot of fiction, like all students do. In my school days, I used to read all the Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys, and in college, I picked up a lot of John Grisham novels, Sidney Sheldon, all the routine fiction stories. But somehow, after this trip, I got into reading a lot of non-fiction.
Oh,
So that somehow curiosity, that I know nothing about myself, I know nothing about my culture, I know nothing about my nation, was becoming stronger and stronger. And when I started studying and reading and all, I kept on getting even more amazed at what we were, and the image about self that our education system gives to us.
yeah.
Let me give you a few more instances.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how many of the audience know, how did algebra get its name?
Yeah.
So, algebra got its name from a book called Al Jabr.
Algebra.
Okay,
It was
so
somewhere in Middle East.
yeah, it's a Arabic mathematician.
Correct.
His name was Al Khawarizmi. So, by the way, algorithms is also derived from this mathematician's name,
Yeah.
Al Khawarizmi. So, Al Khawarizmi become algorithms, and then algorithms in the way we pronounce it. Anyway, that aside, algebra gets its name from this book called Al Jabr, which was written by Al Khawarizmi, and the title of his book is Hisab al Hind.
Hisab al-Hind.
So, this is the Hisab or mathematics that I have learned from India.
Okay.
He himself,
This word hisab.
हिसाब हिसाब कर दो,
Hisab kar do,
calculate कर दो,
calculate.
yeah, that,
जो
that's
आजकल
what, yeah.
सब
And al Hind, so this is what I've learned from Hind or Hindustan, so which is where he wrote that book.
Yeah.
But algebra is now touted as something which has been discovered by the Western world. Not only algebra, trigonometry, the entire field of mathematics has its origins in India. In fact, we were the ones who designed and devised everything. It's just that it has been rebranded as a Western construct. What we used to do, उसका नाम बदल के आपने algebra कर दिया. हम जो मैथ करते थे, जो गणित करते थे, उसका नाम बदल के आपने मैथमेटिक्स कर दिया. And you have that song in Purab or Paschim, right? जब जीरो दिया मेरे भारत ने. So that has been one thing popularized, that India devised zero, and beyond that, what? Nothing, zero. But it's not that. Now,
It's beyond that.
yeah. So what people don't realize is that, how mathematics itself was done in other civilizations, and how mathematics was done in India. Let me give you a few more instances. You would have heard of this English word myriad, MYRIAD. We say there are myriad cultures, myriad languages in India. So it is derived from a Greek word, myriad. Okay. Now, we use it to signify something which is uncountable, or a lot of them. So, like I said, it comes from the Greek word myriad. But you know what myriad means in Greek?
Can you just elaborate?
It's the word for the number 10,000.
Number 10,000.
10,000. Now, why 10,000? Because that was the biggest number that the Greeks could write.
Okay.
The number system that they had,
Yeah.
it could not write a number above 10,000. Okay, no decimals, no fractions. Now you tell me, how the hell could have Greeks calculated the distance between the earth and the moon, between the earth and the sun, everything of which is attributed to the Greeks. When you do not have math itself, which can write a number about 10,000, how do you write a distance which is
Which is
1
far.
lakh, 1 crore kilometers and above?
Yeah, yeah. Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Now you contrast it with another interesting tidbit. In Telugu we call pelli chuplu. So which is जब लोग किसी बच्ची को देखने जाते हैं रिश्ते के लिए, तो जैसे किसी का रिश्ता होता है, बच्ची सज धज के आती है, बच्चा देखने जाता है, वैसे ही बच्चे को भी लोग देखने आते हैं. So going back to a story of Gautam Buddha, when his father-in-law came to see him, what do you think were the kind of questions he was asked? आप क्या पूछोगे, आप क्या करते हो? बुद्ध तो राजा के युवराज थे, उनसे क्या पूछते? So one of the interesting questions he asked is, what is 10 to the power of 43?
He asked a mathematical
Buddha.
question.
Yes. So there is a, जैसे आपके लिए 1000 is called हजार, 10,000 is 10,000, then we have Arab, Kharab and all that. So there was a specific number name given to 10 to the power of 43. In fact, for all numbers going all the way up to 10 to the power of 80, I think. Could be a little less or more. But the thing that you need to understand and ask is, why did the Indians have the need to name numbers as high as 10 to the power of 43, 10 to the power of 70? Right now, what is the biggest number name we'll have? Million, billion if it's foreign, और हमारे पास अरब खरब, बस उसके ऊपर नहीं है. आज हमको उससे बड़े नंबर की जरूरत नहीं है. तो उस टाइम पे ऐसी क्या आवश्यकता थी कि 10 to the power of 43 जैसे नंबर भी रोज आमचल रोजमर्रा की भाषा में वो आ जाते थे. Everyday colloquial language, you had specific number names for that. Because Indians were the ones who were devising entire mathematics.
Yeah.
Let's look at one more example before I end on this note. We all know Roman numbers, right? Let's say we take a 3-digit number. आप एक 35 नंबर आप रोमन नंबर्स में लिखिए, कैसे लिखेंगे? 35 तो 2 डिजिट ही हुआ, 350 लिखिए, कैसे लिखेंगे? आपको पहले तो सोचना पड़ेगा कैसे लिखना है. 35 हो तो आप 3 बार x लिखेंगे, फिर v लिखेंगे, तो 35 होगा. अब 38 लिखना है तो उसके बाद आप और 3 लाइन उतारेंगे. तो अब ये आप 358 इंटू 438 रोमन नंबर्स में एक बार मल्टीप्लाई करके देखिए, आप कर पाएंगे?
नहीं.
पहले तो आपको 358 लिखना ही मुश्किल होगा, 458 लिखना मुश्किल होगा, उसके बाद मल्टीप्लाई करना कर ही नहीं सकते आप, बहुत मुश्किल होगा. सो रोमन नंबर्स वेर इन यूज इवन टिल एज लेट एज 14th and 15th century with a number system as primitive as Roman numbers. What mathematics would the Romans have done?
Got it.
These questions are neither asked anywhere nor are taught in school. Why not? And the conception that we have is, generally when we talk about Indic knowledge or Indian knowledge systems, they would say, ठीक है, you would have been that, you would have been this. But see, science and technology has come from West. So you might have been good there now, then. But right now we need science and technology. What we all need to understand and realize is that was this entire field of science and technology is what has been discovered in India and has gone abroad.
So are you planning to bring Vedic mathematics also in your curriculum?
We will bring Indian Ganita. I don't know if that is Vedic mathematics or not, because we've been consulting and talking, reading a lot of stuff written by Professor C.K. Raju, who is an authority on this, who is also a well-awarded mathematician, who's won several awards internationally. He says, yes, there is maths in Vedas, but it is not Vedic mathematics. It's a misnomer. There is a separate Indian Ganita system, which is there. It also helps me clarify one point which I wanted to make in my earlier context. So a lot of times when we say that, this is India's knowledge which is traveled abroad. So a lot of people say, it's okay, aapne kiya hoga, you take credit. But what does it change? Does it change your present? How does it affect your present? Which is where I think students and public overall should read a lot of works put out by Professor C.K. Raju, wherein he elaborates and elucidates how our Ganita was very different to modern mathematics and how it was much easier compared to the complex mathematics today. And one great example of it is calculus. Again, it was devised in India, copied by Newton, wrongly attributed to him. You could say, ठीक है यार, but calculus सीख तो रहे हैं. But the crux lies, ठीक है, आपने किया होगा. Crux lies that Newton could not understand it properly and he copied it wrong, which is why calculus has become so difficult. You do it the way Indians did it, and calculus becomes easy. So it's not only a question of you having done something first, but it's also a question of you having had a much more easier and much more efficient system of calculation, which has been wronged right now. So thankfully, Professor Raju's course on doing calculus the Indian way is being introduced in IIT Kharagpur. And I hope that it will go from there and people will start to understand not only are we originators of most of this math and science, but also that our systems are much more efficient than what they are today. So that's something that we would like to introduce in our school. How exactly, we are still to figure out. But one step we have taken forward in this direction is we are making small modules of this and introducing them parallel to the regular government curriculum. It will be an additional course purely as an information, no exams for it, so that we can pass on the information at the same time. Yes,
freely
yes.
People should
yes.
adopt it.
And we hope to ignite that bug of curiosity in the students somewhere.
Definitely.
Some same bug which was ignited for me in Bangkok. I hope we can ignite that bug of curiosity in at least a few children. And then they do a research, find out for themselves what is right. We don't want to tell them that this is the truth, this is not. We just want to ignite that curiosity. And then let them find their own way. Yeah. That's a problem, one of the problems with our education system, that we have curbed the entire curiosity of the children. We don't get them to ask questions. In fact, whenever they ask questions, they say, no, you just accept it.
Yes.
Entire original thinking, creative thinking, that is stifled. And if murdered is not a strong word, I would like to use that word, that it is murdered in schools.